This special edition of the Ringer NBA Show is brought to you by SeatGeek, the presenting sponsor of the Bill Simmons podcast on the Ringer Podcast Network. Buy and sell tickets in 2 taps on your phone. Everything fully guaranteed. NBA fans, $20 off your first SeatGeek purchase on NBA tickets. Use promo code BSNBA. $20 off your first purchase. Download the SeatGeek app. There you go. Here he is, my friend, Pastor Carl. Pastor Carl's in the house. Carl Lentz. What's the name of your book?
Own the Moment.
We've done this podcast already. We just didn't tape it.
It's true. Am I the first pastor you've ever had?
You're my first pastor, period.
Ever that you've ever...
I'm not a religious person, but that's how I was raised.
Yeah. I
it's
think
my mom's fault, my dad's fault.
anytime we can blame the parents in the first 2 minutes, we're there.
Yeah, let's do it. But first, it was first 30 seconds.
It's true. It's true. Thank you for having me, though. I appreciate it. It's awesome.
Well, you know I love talking to real basketball fans. There's only very few.
I totally agree.
Select
I am at least that.
So your name started popping up. I don't know, when did you start popping in these stories? Like 2 years ago?
I think probably even before that, with KD, some people saw us together, and I knew Jay Will, the Duke Jay Will, not the white chocolate Jay Will.
Chauffeur, possible shooter Jay Will.
Definitely not option
that
3.
Jay Will.
There's
Okay.
2 options, and I think so people kind of knew, but then, when KD started to kind of take his faith in a different way, I was around, so people were like, "Who's the random white guy?"
Right.
Yeah.
So you became a mysterious figure in basketball circles, a little like my friend Worldwide Wes. People are like, who's this guy? What does he want? What does he get out of it?
Somebody
And you start
actually
dealing with
tried
that.
to insult me one time by saying, "You're like the white Worldwide West," to which I was like, did we just become best friends? It's like the coolest thing anyone's ever said.
Yeah.
But I know Wes, and I'm not him. He makes way more money, and he's much more mysterious and cool. But yeah, so yeah, just if you get around certain people, they're gonna make up stuff about you and just speculate.
There are some similarities, though.
Tell me.
So, first of all, you're in it for the relationship. You're not actually trying to get something out of it. You're more like you've accumulated these relationships that mean a lot to you.
Yeah.
And you're there for the people, but you don't ask them for anything, which is the same thing. Wes is always like a conciliatory big brother type, especially like last decade, but wasn't like, hey, cut me a check, buy me a car. Like he was just kind of in it for the conciliatory aspect of it and figured out everything else would work out.
Yeah, I think I start kind of with one foot back, because most guys who do know pastors, they have been either taken advantage of or have a couple bad experiences. So a lot of guys are really hesitant to trust people on this level. So for me, not having an agenda is pretty cool. Like we have a great church, I have a great family, and I wouldn't say I ask for nothing. Like I do ask for game shorts.
Right.
And I do take
Game
free
shorts.
shoes all day. I love game shorts. I play in them. So I wouldn't say I asked for nothing. And I did ask one time for, I think it was KD, to somehow call the 2K people and boost my guy from the start. I don't know if you're a 2K gamer. I am.
I'm retired. I'm in my 40s.
So
late 40s.
I turned 39 today. It's my birthday, by the way.
Yeah. Happy birthday.
So I still play video games. I'm not ashamed of that. But one time I was like, man, I don't have time to rank my guy up. And Kyrie has like an awesome ranking. I'm like, can you call somebody? Kevin, can you call somebody? So I called the 2K people, and they ranked my guy up. So any of your listeners that know how awesome that is in 2K, rather than be like the bum, my guy was like one of the legends on the court. So that was a perk, and I'm not ashamed of that either. So
that's a pretty good one.
But I think my relationships with these guys is based on trust and just giving help when needed and not needing much.
Yeah.
So,
Tell the audience how big your church is.
We probably have maybe 9,000-10,000 people come on a weekend in New York.
And where is it located?
A block from MSG at the Hammerstein Ballroom.
So how many people at one time in there?
It depends on how we seat it, and it's like different services at different times have like standing room only, or there'll be a little bit more space, maybe 2,000.
Okay.
Yeah, and we have a service in New Jersey as well.
What was the tipping point moment when you went from basketball fan who just knew these guys as guys you watched on TV and saw in person versus you were involved in somebody's life?
a good question. I think it was kind of natural because really the first NBA guy or that level that I hung out with was Jay Williams, and we were playing basketball together, and we became friends. And I kind of forgot that he was Jay Williams, and then I realized, moving forward, how normal some of these guys are, and that we do have a unique lane. And Jay Will, by the way, can still play. But I remember why we bonded because we almost got into a fight in a pickup game. Me more supporting him, and he was like, "Man, you're a pastor? That doesn't make any sense." I'm like, "You need to broaden your church view because we are not playing charity ball out here. It's God's will that we win, and we'll cheat to do it." So that resonates with people.
So then what happens next? How do you all of a sudden have KD in your life?
Well, the KD relationship began because I knew one of the background staff guys at Oklahoma, and I can't say his name because I don't want to get him in trouble because I don't know if OKC is okay with other guys reaching out. But I met him.
They'll start following him from the airport.
He knew of our church, and he just said, "Hey, some of our guys, kind of know about what you guys are doing. Can you pray for him?" To which I was like, "Yeah, I'd love to pray for him right now." And then they ended up coming out, him and Russell, later that night, and I met them both. And that was it. Just kind of hit it off with both of them, and we stayed in touch.
And the teams are automatically skeptical, scared.
100%.
What's this guy?
But if you're connected to like the biggest guy on the team, they can't do anything because there's a lot of weirdos in there. So I think some teams cut their losses with me. They're like, "We don't trust you. We don't really know who you are, but we also, maybe this would err on the side of being better than worse. So we'll give you a break." But yeah, but some teams are cool though. Like some teams are really, they open the doors, and then other teams are just really skeptical, and that's funny to me. Because I'm like, I'm the last guy you need to worry about. Like, I'm definitely stealing stuff out of your equipment room. But other than that,
I might steal your
I'm
shorts.
good. Yeah. I'm taking shots and warm-ups if I can. But I used to do that in college. Like, my boys would come to the sideline, and right before that last buzzer, I would always roll the ball to the corner, and the dudes would come out and shoot. So I've shot a couple on NBA courts, which is cool.
Religion in the NBA has been a mixed bag over the years, and you even saw it with when Mark Jackson flamed out in Golden State. All those stories came out after about that team got too religious, and certain guys didn't like it, and they're praying and doing all these things in the locker room, and it split the locker room apart. Who knows how much of that is overblown? But how does we know how religion fits in? You see it with football, and in basketball.
Yeah,
basketball locker rooms are more melting pots. I mean, you're talking
totally.
You get the black guys, you get the white guys, you have the black guys who came from the worst possible backgrounds, the guys who came from middle class. Then you have all these foreign dudes.
Yes. The foreign guys are awesome, though. Most of the time, they
awesome with the religious part, or
just in general? They're just, you know how Dirk, you have in your book how he amalgamated into like this hip hop German dude.
Yeah, so, with hip hop German accent.
Yeah, so I think a lot of the German guys I've found, like Bino's one of my close friends, and they're just really, really good locker room guys. But yeah, it is a melting pot of religion and faith and weird beliefs. So yeah,
can you have faith in a locker room? Can you have collective faith?
No, and it shouldn't be an issue. The problem is when somebody in an organization tries to force something. And I think in Golden State, when Mark Jackson was there, he got a bad rap for that. I don't think that's the way it went down because David Lee's one of my great friends. Shout out to David Lee, who's engaged.
Yeah. I'm excited for that engagement because I love when athletes marry each other.
Well, imagine
he married
Wozniacki. I don't know. She's an awesome chick. I don't know how to pronounce her. Yeah, I'm just call her Mrs. Lee.
Yeah, future Mrs. Lee.
But they're going to have a child that's going to be a dominant athlete.
They're going to have a tall, athletic child with good hand-eye.
Yeah. So,
maybe a lefty, too.
Yeah, that would be even better. I don't think Golden State was as heavy-handed as it seems, but Mark Jackson's so charismatic that if he says, "Hey, y'all, we're going to church," you could take it as like not an option when Mark Jackson would mean it as an option. So you get the whole team going, and then it just, I think it was a bad narrative on that. But yeah, I don't think anything should be forced on anybody.
All right, so take somebody like Kyrie, somebody you're close to.
Yeah. Varying degrees of closeness because these guys have big lives. But
Yeah.
When
do you get involved in his life, and how does that work out?
Completely need to know. So I have I always tell guys that I get to work with, like, "Hey, I'm here for you if you need me. You don't have to respond to my text. You don't have to call me for anything. I'm just here." And sometimes guys will reach out when they need it, and if they're going through stuff, and the rest is on them.
Yeah. So with KD, do you get you got to the point where you were involved with his whole decision in 2016?
I think I was involved just because of proximity. Like involved meaning talking to him and just hearing him out. Like had no hand in it. There's some stuff that was written about me having a hand in even Kyrie's thing, and I keep saying it's not like that. Like we're not back there. I'm not good enough and smart enough.
I thought it was you and Bieber to convince him to go to leave the Cavs.
Apparently I have time to be an NBA agent and a tour manager. But no, with Kevin, I know what went into that decision. That was heart wrenching for him, and it wasn't callous. It was like the biggest deal ever, and he really did what was in his mind best for him. And it hasn't paid off yet. Also known as, of course, it did. He's a champion.
Yeah,
he's playing on the best team maybe that we're going to see in a long time, and I'm happy for him because a lot of guys do stuff out of pressure, which makes no sense. Loyalty to an organization, even though we know the moment these guys retire, loyalty means you get like a free seat and they honor you twice a year at midcourt. So I just think...
Or you might become an announcer for the team.
Maybe, at best. Yeah. And I think for him, it's like, bro, you got to maximize this window. You're never going to get it back. Make as much money as you can. Do what you want. Have fun. Because Kevin, he left Texas at 19, was drafted, thrown in the mix. It's like if you get to any profession and have the right to write your own ticket, do that. Nobody gets to do that. So enjoy it. I think he did that.
Yeah, the first time we did a podcast, we argued about it.
He's your unofficial co-host.
I listen.
Is this where he sits? Am I in this chair?
No, he's never been in here. We've always been. He only plays home games on the podcast.
That's big time.
You're sitting where Charlize sat though. That's a holy sofa now.
I feel the anointing.
But the thing with KD though, I see it both ways. Being a super competitive person.
Yeah.
I get the side where people are like, that team beat him in the playoffs and then he went and played with them. And those people who believe that are never going to be swayed from it. And I get it.
Yeah.
I'm also like, I don't know, for some reason I just felt, and I've talked about this a million times, but the situation he was in OKC, some of the moves they made, and just like what his life was like up to that point, the reason that he left actually really made sense to me.
Yeah.
And it did make me reevaluate how I felt about some of this other stuff. I hated what LeBron did in 2010.
Right.
And now I look back at it and it's like, makes a little more sense. He wanted to change. He saw Wade, not like a father figure, but like somebody who could be like his brother and he could go to war with.
Yeah.
And get Bosh and just start new somewhere else. He really wanted it. He'd been in the same place his whole life. When you talk to some of these guys, the whole theme of them being trapped in a certain city seems like it's a much bigger deal than we realize.
I think that there was a rookie who just came out recently, and he said, the NBA life is so boring. Did you read that? It was very funny. Malik Monk said that. And it was funny because they probably told him not to say that, but people forget, like, it's cool to get drafted and get money, but then you get into the real life grind. And the NBA life is like it's a tough one. It's tunnel vision, the same place all the time, kind of just doing that same routine. And I think a lot of guys forget these are young men who want to live their life. And so if you get a chance to break out and do something new and free, and got to do it. So I'm with you. I thought we always look back at pioneers with like joy, but in the moment they're not pioneers. They're just like people who are complicated, right? So LeBron changed the game. A couple of years from now, we'll look back and be like, yeah, players should do what they want to do. But that wasn't cool back then. So I think I like this generation of guys having a little bit more control rather than an organization manipulating them or putting undue, burden on them.
I'm torn on it. I see it. I think it's...
Do you wish he would have stayed in OKC?
KD?
Yeah.
So, no. I actually think he should have left. And I think the timing of it with this weird salary cap situation where it was basically this 1 year to go to the Warriors that made sense with the cap. No other year it would have worked. And it was this 1 year, and he wanted to go and change his life. I wish he had gone to a different team. But as he pointed out when we argued about it, so if he goes to Boston, he's not guaranteed to win a title there either.
Yeah.
I guess that's the part that a lot of people got stuck on is...
They're so
but
good
why does
already.
he have to? Yeah, why does he have to guarantee a title? That's not how competitiveness works.
Yeah,
that part I don't have an answer for.
Yeah, I don't think there are answers to that stuff. I think it's a personal thing for him, and
I will say though, the more time I've spent with him talking about this stuff, I really do think he cares about a higher level of basketball, and I think that was the most appealing thing to him is that he felt like the situation he was in was not a good basketball situation, that he wasn't growing as a player. He wasn't challenged. It was a lot of one-on-one and just kind of like the basketball that sucked last decade. And there was this level that I felt like he felt was out there. And he's been pretty candid about that. But it's not much different than what happened with Kyrie. And I think people felt like Kyrie's crazy. Why would he leave LeBron? LeBron just made 7 straight finals. But then if you watch Kyrie in these Celtic games, if you listen to the quotes that he's had,
right,
it's clear that he's so happy right now. He's like, this is what I was hoping was out here with this coach.
Let's talk about Brad Stevens' brain.
Yeah, I'm using all these parts of me that I always felt like I had, and I wasn't. And now he's bought in, and he's been a completely different player all around.
Well, I think it's like a running back. I mean, if you can get 4 or 5 yard gains running through the tackles, but if you want to go to a team that runs screens and you can dominate on that, to me, that was more Kyrie. He could be successful there, but he wanted to be in a different system, and I think he's got the. I think we're seeing that he's pretty. He gambled on himself.
Yeah, KD had an answer. I asked him, we did a mailbag one, the last podcast we did. And I asked him, it was like, what's the hottest you've ever been or whatever? And then asked, could you have ever gone for 70 in a game? And he's like, I wouldn't do that. That's not a good game.
That's not his psyche, yeah.
I'm trying to make the best basketball play. The best basketball play almost never is to go for 70 points. Right. And what's interesting is watching Kyrie these last couple weeks on the Celtics. He's had games. There's been a couple already when he could have gone for 55.
Yeah.
He might have gotten it. He might have taken 35 shots or whatever. But he would never do that. He's like trying to make the right basketball play over and over again.
He's good. He's so much fun
I think some guys are like that. Yeah. I think LeBron, when LeBron went for 57 against Washington this season, last week, not typical for him. He kind of felt like he had to. His team was playing like crap. So I think for some of these guys, the basketball destiny part of it really does seem important. And I'm sure you've heard that, right?
Yeah. I mean, guys want to be thought of well. They want to get their name in the history books. People forget these dudes are the top 1% of this craft. And, that stuff matters to them a lot. Yeah. By the way, I think LeBron is looking really good. I don't know if people have seen. Have you seen him play live this year?
No, I haven't seen him play live, but I've watched on TV, and he's just like athletically is starting to feel like Shaq-ish, and I mean that as a compliment. Like
exactly, well said.
He's in 12 feet and in on the basket. He's become really kind of unstoppable.
But they're really precise moves. Like his Euro isn't trying to get around a guy as much as it is to I just might clip you as well. And you're going to go through the backside. I'm talking about big guys. I saw them lose to the Nets the other night. Live and in color. I just could not believe how fluid he is. But I also saw him pregame standing on this like cord.
Yoga thing. Haverstraw wrote about that. Yeah. He's little yoga bubbles.
He's ahead of the game with his. Honestly, he could be like how Rashid kind of developed later on. He could play any position for 5-6 more years if he wants. He could just be a post guy. Never run again.
There's a whole Karl Malone chapter of his career that we might be about to enter.
I'm up for it.
He's just a lot of like half court post up, but then also running point guard on breaks.
Interesting about Kyle Korver, because they were in town. I caught up with him, who's just a legend. You would love him on this. He's got a million awesome perspectives. But he was saying the biggest difference playing with LeBron is where he used to be able to catch the ball. He has to live like this because he's like LeBron throws fireballs.
Right.
So he's had to adjust to, because he's always been an amazing shooter. But whereas maybe he could do this, like with LeBron, you just never know when he's going to do that. I've never seen anybody since Magic make that, like when he looks this way and he guns that thing.
Yeah.
Kyle Korver said that's been new. It's like 'cause the ball comes right there. So you got to have that split second.
He's probably in some gym testing it.
Yeah, he's sitting there with like dialing.
It is cool how he keeps adding stuff to his game this late. Like when he had the 57 against DC, I went and looked it up immediately because I was like, has anybody in year 15 ever had a game like that? It's like nobody's come close to.
No way.
With the rebounds and the points and the efficiency that he had in that game, it's completely uncommon. But we're seeing this in football too with Brady.
Yeah.
And in the old days, we would just suspect like PEDs or something, but now it seems like you see all the stuff these guys are doing off the court, and actually is more logical. Like Yeah, there's LeBron standing on these little yoga bubbles, and he's
Yep.
working out for 4 hours in the morning. Like he's
Pretty sure Kobe was onto some of this. We were making
He
fun of him,
was.
sleeping in hyperbaric chambers and doing weird things. And
yeah.
but yeah, I think
And
that
the thing is, if Kobe hadn't snapped his Achilles, I think he could have kept going. The problem is, once you're
would've.
knocked out of it,
yeah.
you can't. Your body can't come back to where it was. You know what I mean?
That's what all the guys I know that are getting older say. They're like, it's not the game as much as it is the game after.
Yeah.
And it's not the workouts. It's like the fifth workout in July, late August,
Right.
that you're like, man, I just don't feel like, as young
People are
as I
saying
used
that's
to.
why your basketball game slipped a little.
It hasn't slipped.
You're
That's
just
the
not-
thing.
you're not- your
I've never
workouts
been
haven't been
better
as
than
good.
I am right now.
You're peaking. You're like LeBron.
I
Are you
feel
standing
like-
on yoga bubbles?
Yeah, I do. I do it all. I feel like I have gotten better, and I played a couple times with NBA guys, and I last approximately 2 minutes and mysteriously sub myself out. So like when Melo had those runs a couple years ago.
Oh, the hoodie mellow?
This is before Hoodie Mello. This is like when Terminal 23 was a Jordan gym, and
Yeah.
I was in there. I played one whole game, pick up one time. I had Andre Drummond on my team, and I did what everyone logically would do, which is feed the ball to Drummond, and he was awesome. But the problem is guarding anybody.
Yeah.
Like, you can survive if you can shoot, maybe, but once they sniff out that, like, hey, who's this guy? And they clear out, and then you're embarrassed forever, on somebody's phone. So I'm always like, my hamstring, somebody get me. But
Yeah, you can be Kyle Korver until you're.
Kinda.
I was till my mid 40, like about 44. I had this
because
whole.
I don't hear you talking about playing a lot of pickup
Well, because
anymore.
I'm retired now. I'm old.
You really hung
I
it
might
up?
come back I may make one comeback next year. But yeah, you can survive if you understand basketball from an IQ standpoint, and you know where to go, what to do, what not to do.
And if you have
can
friends,
keep going.
If you have friends out there, like
Yeah.
if you have friends looking out for
People
you,
you played with.
if you don't know anybody, they will eat you alive. I've seen like rappers come out and in their mind, because rappers in their mind they're good at everything. These aren't your boys. No one thinks you can play, and they just eat them alive. It's awesome. There are some rappers that can play though.
Are you involved at all in that weird underground summer pickup scene? It feels like you are.
My friend Chris Brickley
Yeah.
is the generator of it, and
Yes.
he is my
Let's talk
boy.
about this.
Chris is a guy who kind of does what I do, except for on the basketball side. So he's got a lot of trust with guys, and he's so good at what he does. A lot of guys gravitate towards him, and it just happened where everyone's looking for a place to play pickup. Nobody wants to play with average guys, and they're all in town for Fashion Week. And I think Chris just maximized the moment. Shout out to my book, On the Moment. And he has access to all these guys. So I saw all those games, and it was awesome.
How'd they decide? I've
I'm
never
pretty
heard
sure
the
LeBron.
adequate.
I think LeBron and KD probably picked them, and Chris had something to do
I
with
thought
it.
Brickley was the one who made
Yeah,
the teams.
Chris would have, but I'm sure he's going to check with those two guys. I don't have facts on that, but yeah. I don't know who picked the teams, but they were good teams. There's always a random dude who plays overseas that you forgot about that's
Yeah.
out there killing because he's got something to prove.
Yeah, he's with big giant chip on his shoulder.
Right, and then the NBA guys pick up their pace a little bit, and it gets really. Most of the games were pretty good, pretty intense.
All right, so if we say the bottom shelf intensity is the All-Star game,
Yes, the bottom.
the next rung is Summer League, next rung is preseason, and next rung is like a really boring regular season game in like New Orleans in
All
front
right.
of 9,000 people. Where do these
We're going to
games
shift
rank?
it to the right and say it's its own thing because I think guys work on one specific thing. So LeBron will go out there and go, from what I can see, I think maybe they're not trying to. I know with Melo, one day he was just working on this post move. So no matter where he was, he wasn't shooting a lot of threes. He just kept going down to the post and doing the same thing over and over. And I think some of those guys in the summer, they're like, I'm not going to bust my butt right now, but I'm going to work on this. So LeBron work on a step back or whatever. But it's intense because those guys are proud.
Yeah.
So they might try to act cool, but when it gets down to it,
What kind of shit talking is going on?
it's more respectful. It's nobody really going at it unless Russell's involved. If Russell's there, it seems like everybody, because Russell doesn't care who you are.
Yeah.
He would play in flip flops, and try to win. But I think most of the time I didn't see any like real. Anybody young out there gets definitely no respect. It's very funny. They might try to pretend to call a ball, and the people will be like didn't even happen.
KD said Carmelo went through a phase where he was just calling every cheap foul if he didn't make the shot. He'd call the foul late, and they would
him and Dante Jones, who is out there. He's a monster out there.
Yeah,
but they'll go at people for sure. They'll go at people.
I'm surprised they let Dante Jones in that game.
Well, I mean, he means business, so I think you need people that are going to play D and not have to have the ball all the time. But he's a huge asset because he goes at it all the time. They had that rookie or a guy who's at Kentucky this year, I think, some giant dude.
Yeah.
But you see some guys who you're like, wow, you know right away you're going to be something special. And you see other guys, you could tell they got a couple years before they have the heart to be able to match.
Can you see like all that alpha dog stuff kind of?
All day.
All the seeds are there, right?
All day.
Yeah.
You can see it, yeah.
Because like Westbrook to me doesn't seem like he can play basketball any other speed than the speed he's at.
No.
If he's in the All-Star game, he's at that speed.
Yeah, and he's looking at everybody else like they're crazy. Russell's like, I'm getting 50. I'm getting the MVP. If you want to be Joe Cool, that's fine. But I'm going to go ahead and get 50. And I don't care if anybody likes it. And I love that about Russ, by the way.
Cameras? Do they take all the phones?
No cameras. LeBron has a lot of dudes that roll with him. Like, he has some heavy hitting security. So there'd be like these sweet little people who live in that building, and they'd be like, no cameras. You know, and some lady just like walking to her apartment, and you know, he has to go away in shame. But yeah, there's not a lot of phones in there. Chris edited all those and had his guys get the photos that people saw. I got a couple, but
no money.
No money. No.
They don't play like 211. $2,000 a person.
Not that I know of.
LeBron's Venmoing Carmelo money afterwards.
Not that I know of. I don't think they had any money on that stuff.
What is the ideal number of an entourage for these guys? Whether it's Bieber or Carmelo or whoever.
It depends on what stage of the career.
Oh,
so,
I like this. What's that mean?
I think early on in the career, you have a lot of guys around you because you don't know what to do. And you don't know who to trust. You don't know where to go. So you have a lot of friends.
So you trust the dudes that liked you when you didn't have anything.
A lot of guys have mixed loyalty. So a lot of guys will say, if you're with me from the beginning, you're with me for life.
Yeah.
And I always tell guys, like, loyalty is about a principle, not a person. So if the person sticks with the principle that got them there, cool. But if they don't, being loyal doesn't mean letting the guy that's been with you from day one continue to fleece you and steal and put you in bad positions. So a lot of guys have to learn that the hard way. Like, but it's my guy. He's been with me forever. Yeah, he's been terrible forever.
Yeah, that guy's been with you forever with his hand out.
If he doesn't change with your growth, he's got to go. And a lot of guys make that decision.
It seems like from I wouldn't say I have limited experience because I've crossed a lot of paths at this point.
Pretty sure. That's an understatement. You're kind of like your own guy, though.
Not as many as you. No, I'm my own guy, but I'm just saying from what I've seen with the Hoopers.
Yeah.
They like to have their dudes, and it's usually 2 or 3.
Yeah.
From back home.
Yep.
And you know whether back home is like high school or like
college,
AAU or college, but there are these 2 or 3 people, they just trust those guys.
Yep.
And they don't, everybody else is regarded suspiciously until
takes a while.
They cross. Like KD has Rich, who's like Rich Kleiman, who's like his dude now.
Yeah.
I'm sure there was a feeling out period where he's like, I'm not sure with this guy. I like this guy, but and over the course of time, he became a guy.
Well, Kevin is a trusting guy. So I think with Rich, who's just an awesome guy, he was quick to give trust. But Kevin's had some guys he's had his whole life that he just trusts, and you could tell those guys are different than hangers on. There's some guys who genuinely love these guys, and they're like, I don't care if you're rich or not, I'm your guy. Anything you need. And there's other guys who they love the life. You know, you could tell they love it. And if that were to change, I don't know if they'd be around. So
like, how deep is LeBron's entourage now? Because he's got to have bodyguards and stuff too.
LeBron is like a professional corporate mogul. I mean, he runs. He's got the tightest crew, tightest camp I've ever seen in my life. Like
everybody's got a job.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And if you don't produce and you're not like, if you don't help his image, he does. And I think it's smart. I don't think you're going to be able to be around LeBron for a while. So you never see LeBron in the tabloids. You never see him in trouble. You never see him, and partly because he lives a pretty solid, clean life. But the other thing is he's got guys that represent him well.
Yeah, LeBron, considering when he became famous and all the pressure he's been under.
He's done awesome.
He really has.
It's unbelievable. And I know we're in an NBA culture where no one likes to give credit to anybody, but my gosh, has LeBron changed the game.
It should have gone a lot worse.
A lot worse. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of... I mean, the dumbest thing he did was the decision. I still think that was stupid. I don't think him leaving was stupid, but I think him doing it as a TV show was just really callous to the Cleveland fans. It's still indefensible.
Yeah, and I see that in my profession a lot, where you'll see a guy, a big-time pastor, say something. Well, you know it's not them, but you're like, who told you that was going to go over well? And I think that happens with NBA guys all the time.
But like somebody like Westbrook, he's not a huge entourage guy. He
has no entourage.
He's married. He does his own thing.
Have you ever seen his dad?
His dad's ripped, right?
Yeah, his dad looks like he's 37.
Yeah.
And his mom is incredible. His brother Ray, who is awesome. He's at everything. But I'm pretty sure Russell's entourage includes Ray and his wife. He doesn't. He's that kind of guy where he's like, I'm good. I don't need friends.
Right.
I don't care if you like.
He's happy in Oklahoma City.
But he's also. Have you talked to him? Have you had him on this couch yet?
No, he doesn't like me.
I don't think he.
He doesn't like. Him and KD were mad about the Harden trade stuff. Because
I'm not taking credit for this.
Call me crazy, but I was on national television talking about how stupid it was to trade James Harden. I don't know. It was one of my wacky opinions.
I went to bat for you before Kevin liked you. I know Rich might try to take credit for this link.
Rich takes credit.
Rich, I publicly defy that.
KD was the maddest about the Harden stuff.
But I remember...
it's my job to talk about this stuff.
But you weren't necessarily wrong. And I
definitely was not wrong.
But, guys get attacked so much that they're quick to hate all media guys. But I think with any criticism, see if it's true. First step to any criticism, before you get mad, see if there's any truth to it.
Well, I think with that one, it hurt. It actually was too close to home.
Yeah.
And now that we've done these podcasts, in the fourth mailbag one, KD talked about the Harden trades like the biggest what if of his career. He never would have admitted that 2 years ago. But it is crazy that these three guys like Harden. We're taping this on a Monday. Harden had 56 points on 25 shots last night. He's on the same team with Westbrook and Durant.
It's shocking to think about. Do you think they could have survived though, with those three guys being?
I don't know. I think they would have had to take different forms that might not have been as good for their ultimate destiny.
But that's 3-person humility. I don't know if that's happened. At that level.
It's happened. Like you saw it. I mean, you have to go way back.
Yeah, well,
you'd have to go back to like Russell Celtics and stuff like that.
Those days don't count.
Yeah, those days don't count.
I don't know.
You've seen it on the Dream Team.
Yes.
You've never seen it over the course of a whole season and over the course of multiple seasons,
Yeah.
It's tough. Basketball, this is why I love the stats, but at some point the stats only go so far.
Yeah.
Because there's still this whole other part of basketball that people don't account for. Like, all right, Westbrook won the MVP last year. I didn't think he should have, but he was a candidate.
Yeah.
I would have not put him below top 3. But now you look at Cantor leaves, he goes to New York, all of a sudden he's an asset again.
Yeah.
Oladipo leaves, gets in better shape, so not all that's on Westbrook, but goes to his team, he's empowered, he's playing better. Sabonis looked like a bozo last year. Like he looked like a complete bust and is now an above average starting center, and you got to look back at that and you go, did Westbrook was the MVP, but did he make those guys better? No. The situation made him better.
I think where you're astute at pointing out a lot that if you're not on the inside of the NBA, you miss tone and vibe. Like vibe of a team. Like, so if a team gets a win, watch them walk to the bench. Like you can find out so much in interactions. Like, so you got to win, but this dude has hit 3 in a row and a teammate should clap. Teammate's still shaking his head, looking at his boy in the stands. That's something you can't statistically.
Some of that's set from the coach too. It's the coach and the best player.
Absolutely.
Like Stevens with the Celtics, the guys, your minutes might get yanked around, whatever, but you look over the bench, they're all locked in.
It's culture. It's culture all day long, and coaches set that. And like they're not having it at Steven Jackson, who's a legend. He gets removed from the team. I think that's pretty heavy, and that's San Antonio culture will not accept anything less than the best.
Right. You think you're as good as Kawhi, you're not. You have to go.
Yep. I know Kevin has said some coaches would tell him ahead of time, hey, I'm going to say this, and that in front of the guys, and then come out and do it. And then it's like, I think players respect. All I've ever heard about Steve Kerr is he treats you exactly the same everywhere. So if he's going to chew you out, it's going to be in front of people. If he's going to praise you, it's going to be in front of people. That sets a tone of accountability.
He learned that from Popovich and Phil, though.
Yeah.
Those are the guys for that.
Phil Jackson?
Huh?
Phil Jackson?
Well, he had the good Phil Jackson.
Good Phil.
Chicago Phil Jackson was the good Phil Jackson.
I agree.
I think Lakers one got a little got a little full of himself, and
got a little bit of Kobe Shaqism.
well, the thing with that team though, that's the all-time. I'm trying to think of the combustible chemistry combo.
Yeah.
Two guys that were just wired not to like each other if they played together, and they happened to play together during their primes.
Have you ever pointed out the triangle offense myth, though? Like, I just don't think
they never really stuck to it when it actually mattered.
Michael Jordan, they didn't, but every time the triangles worked, he's had one of the greatest players of all time. It doesn't, if it can't work outside of that sample size, I'm not buying it. I watched the Knicks try to run the triangle for 4 years.
Well, the spirit of it, Steve Kerr has tried to do with the Warriors. He's taken little pieces of it.
Yeah,
he basically wants everyone to touch the ball, which is what the triangle is.
Yeah.
The triangle is not only is everyone going to touch the ball, but you're going to obey these specific rules.
You will function in this orbit.
But it doesn't work in the three-point shooting era. Now you have teams shooting 30, 40 threes a game. And
Correct.
I don't know. Can you have two alpha dogs on the same team?
I don't know anymore. I used to think so. But in Golden State, it's kind of proven they do. I think Steph and KD are the closest you can get to having two alpha dogs. You put Draymond in there. I think Draymond's his own kind of dog. I don't know if you can label him.
I would say Draymond's I would say he's the alpha dog.
Yes, but I
don't think Steph and KD are wired like alpha dogs.
I still think your best player, like as much as I love Kawhi, like I feel like your best player has to be the biggest, strongest leader in the NBA. I do. I think at the end of the day, that's who the guys listen to. So I think when it comes to Golden State's got the best of all worlds. They have Draymond, who's the biggest culture carrier. And they got Steph and KD, who are pretty good leaders in their own right. So now you've got three. And Clay's he's just quiet. Clay's just a chill dude, but he could be if he needed to be. But I haven't seen in the NBA, in this era, I'm interested to see John Wall and Bradley Beal. What's going to happen there?
I'm very suspect of that one.
What's going to happen there? Like, I think it seems like it's going okay, but I don't know. At some point, someone has to go. I'm okay to play the B-side tonight.
I almost feel like the whole concept of alpha dogs is morphing into something else because, like, I don't feel like KD and Curry are traditional quote-unquote alpha dogs, but what makes them great, among all the other things, they know exactly who they are as basketball players.
Well said.
They have no illusions. They're like, I'm good. I just want to win. I want to make the right play.
Yep.
If I get hot, I'm going to ride it.
Yeah.
I love playing basketball.
The
problems are when the guys don't, like John Wall.
Yeah.
I don't think he totally knows who he is yet.
Yeah, let Bradley shoot that thing in the corner.
Yeah.
You saw that other game where he was wide open and he did take it on himself, but to me, it just makes you better.
The worst thing that ever happened to John Wall was when he made that three-pointer and jumped on the table that game. Yeah, because I don't think he's a great three-point shooter. He's not good. And then the half court, not as good either. I love John Wall. I think he's amazing. I think when he realizes that with a minute to go, down one, get the ball to Bradley Beal.
Yeah.
This is what's going to help us win.
Bill
He's better than
Whittington.
I am at this one thing. That's
Steve
when
Kerr,
he'll get there.
John Paxson. Who are
Yeah.
these guys? These are little spot-up guys. Didn't make Michael Jordan any less,
Yeah.
to hit the wide-open guy.
But yeah, I think that seems to me like a more traditional alpha dog struggle down the road because Beal's going to just keep getting better and better. And at some point, those guys are going to look at each other. I noticed it with Lillard and C.J. McCollum. Lillard hit a big three, and I was looking at the tape trying to the Blazers are jumping over on Lillard, and I'm looking like, where's CJ?
I always look for that too.
And I didn't see him, and now he might have been on the other side of the court. It might have been a fluke, but I don't know. I always look for that stuff. It's like, was CJ happy that he made that? I don't know.
He better be.
Yeah, you better be.
It's the NFL receiver thing. You won by 20, but you only had 2 catches. What's that malcontent going to do in the locker room? Same concept. So for me, that's where our thing is a big deal, because if your faith is where it should be, you should want other people to do well. Ultimately, everybody does better, but it's just not like that, unfortunately. I don't know.
Dame Lillard, that song he has with Lil Wayne is really good.
I
think that's a really the Dame Lillard being a good rapper is one of the craziest things that happened in 2017. They played that song. I was watching the Blazers OKC game, and they came out of commercial and played it because Lil Wayne was there. I was like, it's just a great tune.
He's good. He's really good.
It's really good.
Yeah,
he could be the Bo Jackson.
Too. KD can rap.
Haven't heard the KD.
Shump can rap.
Shump?
You heard Shump stuff? Yeah. Amon Shumpert.
Tommy's nodding. Okay.
I think Amon Shumpert's great. Yeah, I don't want to get in trouble. I don't know. Who? Jalen?
Yeah. Jaylen Brown.
Yeah.
The smartest basketball player in the league.
You think so?
Well, I'm worried. I think he's going to head toward that road. There's going to be people writing stories about how smart he is, and it's like that does not fly in the locker rooms. Guess what you don't want to be is the self-proclaimed smartest guy in basketball.
Yeah.
That's not going well.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough.
Do you agree with my philosophy that I wrote about in the book, which you claim to have read? No, I know you read it.
I have hold on. I have footnotes in my book. It's an ode to you. I have it in there.
Thank you.
And no one's ever done it. I can't believe I'm the first guy to copy it, but I give credit to you.
I copied it from David Foster Wallace.
I didn't know who that is or care.
He's
I copy
one
Bill
of the
Simmons.
greats.
I copy Bill Simmons. I read ESPN.com. I don't know who that guy is.
Do you agree with my premise that 99% of NBA beefs are about cards or women or money?
That's not a premise. That's a reality.
Cards, women, or money.
That's
one
not
of those
a premise.
three things.
It's not even a question.
Has there ever been a beef that didn't involve one of those three things?
You have to add shots, like bad shots taken.
Oh, like shot selection.
Over a course of a year leads to an explosion.
Interesting.
I actually have a funny, there's another thing also due to misused screens. So I know a lot of big guys. And after a while, when you have a gunner, like I've seen guys like set screen after screen, and then the guy will come back at a timeout and be like, yo, set me a screen. I ain't setting you no more screens because you keep taking dumb shots. And the guy's always bigger. That's my favorite fight, and it happens all the time because those guys are always demanding the screens, right? So these big dudes who have been busting their butt, haven't touched the ball in 9 games, and they finally set that last one. The dude doesn't even use it. He misses a shot. They score, timeout, and they're running back, and the score starts to come at the big guy, and the big guy's like, nah, I'm setting you no more screens. And they'll leave him out to dry. I've seen it a million times.
Gortat got that way in the Wizards-Celtics series.
Polish
he was
Hammer?
so mad. Polish Hammer was so mad.
Greatest tattoo in the game.
He was again. Afterwards, he had the whole crazy quotes about, all I do is set screens. I can do more.
First of all, you can't. You set great screens, and you look like a cartoon.
He does set some good screens, though.
Yeah, he does.
What locker room over the last 15 years do you wish had called in Pastor Carl to try to heal, other than Shaq and Kobe, which is the obvious
That's where I was going.
They could have used you in that Wizards locker room during the Gilbert Arenas era.
I'm not trying to get shot in any locker room. I'll tell you that right now. I love Jesus, but I'm not dying in an NBA locker room as a bystander. I feel like anytime there's it's frustrating when you see things that are straight pride related. Because pride is something we all have to fight. And anytime I see something, there's some things that are just not going to work. And it's like, I want nothing to do with your locker room. You got to trade guys. Yeah. But there's sometimes when the team is so close. Like, we had a really good team in New York with JR, Tyson, Melo, Jalen coming through. Like, we had something. And if you're there and you saw it, you knew. And Amari was there. And there just was so many things floating around where guys wouldn't die to maybe their own cause over the long course of a season. And it leads to disunity. So
you got different competing agencies.
Oh, my God.
Pitting guys against each other.
And it's New York.
And
so
coaches.
It magnifies everybody's desire to be a star. So that's what New York will do to you.
As we are recording this, the Knicks have given their fans hope for the first time since that Carmelo season you just mentioned. And Porzingis went to another level.
Porzingis is a baller.
Frankie Smokes, the rookie point guard. That's what we call him.
I'm a Dennis Smith guy, so he's got to show me so much. And
unlike Dennis Smith, Frankie Smokes plays defense.
I'm not interested in defense in any way. I'm not going to MSG to watch somebody lock up.
Well, you got Porzingis winning the scoring title. You need a well-rounded team.
No, he does seem like he's going to be a great player.
I actually like him. I wasn't wrong on him because I didn't know anything about him. I love Monk.
Yeah.
But him and Markkanen, the finisher with 2 ends.
Yeah,
both seem like they're players. It seemed like a great draft.
I'm nervous because leadership starts from the top down. And I don't know James Dolan, but I'm really hoping he keeps on letting people make decisions.
I don't even know who's making the decisions right now.
Steve Mills.
Oh. Is he definitely the decision guy?
I don't know.
Was it his decision to give Tim Hardaway $80 million or whatever?
No, if it was a bad decision, I don't put it on Steve. If it's a good one,
put it
I
on
give
Phil
him credit.
Jackson?
Yeah, I can do whatever I want. So I'm just going to say everything that was bad was Phil. And, Steve's going to bring us a new day. Allen Houston's involved. He's awesome. But other than that, I don't know. I just hope they keep making just even logical decisions is okay with me. We don't have to make good ones. But
logical, don't trade Porzingis. That was they pulled that off.
Yep, they pulled that off.
Maybe we shouldn't trade the 7'3" guy who could score 30 a game if we ever ran plays.
And all he does is play ball. You're not going to see Porzingis out on the town in New York being ridiculous. He plays ball. He's kind. He's humble. His brother is his only entourage guy. and they just are really simple, awesome people. So I hope we keep him forever.
What's the biggest entourage you've seen without naming a name? Have we gone over 20 with an NBA player?
Yeah, it's tough. It depends on the situation. But some of the guys that we've mentioned on this podcast are already have giant entourages. But they're good with it though. If you go see an NBA guy in a club, that whole section is their crew. But normally, I think that era is over a little bit because just too much can go wrong.
What about musicians versus NBA players in the entourage side? Musicians have to have more, right?
Musicians have more. They're definitely not as cool. Like, I think NBA guys have cooler entourages.
Right.
But
definitely more weed in the entourages, I would guess.
Yeah. JB in his heyday had some crazy entourages.
What year are we talking?
Maybe a couple years ago.
13, 14?
No, I mean, he's like 23 now. Like a couple years ago, everybody loves Justin. Like I did a chapel with the Steelers one time.
Yeah.
And he was with me, staying with me at the time. I brought him. And every Steeler wanted to hang out and talk to him. And then Terry Bradshaw gets on next day and he's like, I can't believe they let Justin Bieber into a chapel, and just starts going off. And he had nothing to do with it. He was just rolling with me.
Yeah.
But I've never seen somebody be, that universally loved. Guys love JB.
That's weird because the perception is that he's way more polarized than that.
Yeah, for sure. But as we know, perception is often really far from reality.
Remember that week when you convinced Kyrie to leave Cleveland and Bieber to quit his tour the same week?
Yeah, it was a big week, Bill.
What was it? Where did you guys have breakfast where you said, hey, guys, here's what I'm thinking?
I said, guys, here's what I want to do. I feel like we don't get enough Scientology rumors. So if you guys could make giant, colossal decisions and just allude to the weird, random guy that runs a church that people don't know about, in detail, that would help me out. So I enjoyed that cycle of news that week, let me tell you. It was great.
You didn't enjoy it?
Not really, because you can't answer all of them. And after a while, it's like, no, we didn't brainwash this guy. No.
So now you're like a religious quack.
Well, I know
that would be like the negative.
I don't mind
when you become pigeonholed by like fake stuff.
I'd rather be mysterious and weird,
yeah,
than just answer everything. So some people are like, yeah, you guys at your church, you guys have like different levels of entry. We're like, yeah, for sure. How many people come to your church? I heard it's like 100,000. We're like, yep, sure. All NBA players have to run their contracts by you? Maybe. You just answer random stuff. So it's not as spectacular as people think, but it is cool. It is fun to be a part of that. I just love basketball, so it's like my fun. That's something you'll appreciate. In Kevin, early days, we were talking about if you don't have to be a soft Christian on the court, right? Because a lot of guys are like, I don't want anything to do with faith. That's why Jeff Van Gundy hated chapels. You know that story?
No.
Despised the Knicks having chapel because he felt like it was the wrong mentality for them to have.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's some stories about it. Because that's why the Knicks are like, they're very interesting with the chapel thing. But I was telling Kevin, like, because you're a Christian doesn't mean you can't be a killer on the court. And I was like, matter of fact, next time you dunk on somebody, let's do something cool. Like do like a praying hands thing and like a slit the throat. Like we'll kill him now, pray for him later. And he took it literally, does it, and gets fined $25K.
Yeah.
100% my fault. I turn on First Take the next day. Skip Bayless is like, this guy says he's a Christian, and now he's doing slow, throat cutting thing, and I just felt so bad, but it was also kind of awesome. Kevin still thinks I owe him $25,000.
Yeah,
and I'm paying it, someday.
He'll be fine.
I thought it was the funniest thing to see him do that, and it was like an awesome play. Did the throat slash, praying hands, and so I'm responsible for that fine.
Football seems to like the sport where there's the cloud of religion, and I don't mean that black cloud, like just the cloud is kind of always lingering over the games. Anytime somebody gets hurt, they all get in the prayer circle, they pray after the game.
NFL chapels are very somber. You can tell dudes are like, if you wanted to, you could manipulate it. Very like, hey, if you're in here, God's going to protect you.
There's a fear of physical safety that goes with football that basketball doesn't
football,
really
the
have.
urgency is different because basketball, you signed your contract, you got a 4-year, $30 million deal, you're good. You don't care. Yeah. Football, you cannot have a job the day after. So guys are very,
or you could be getting wheeled out on the injury cart.
Yeah, you can do some serious damage. So I think there's some NFL chapels are a lot of fun. Others are really quiet and chill. That has a lot to do with the quarterback. Best chapel I've ever been to, Chicago Bears, because of Josh McCown, who's like one of the best leaders still to this day that I know. but he's a gatherer. And I went into that chapel and I was like, my gosh, it was packed, because most NFL chapels you got maybe 10, 15 guys. But this was packed. Met Brandon Marshall there, still like a lifelong friend. Just an eclectic group of guys, but it all comes back to the leadership.
Also, there's a religious element to the speeches that either the guy gives before the game.
Yes.
Jameis Winston, they had one yesterday. It was a disaster. He gave like this
eating
his fingers.
It was the most awkward thing I've ever seen.
Yeah,
the guys were like, cool.
That's where it goes bad.
End this quickly.
Yeah. But some of them are good. And then the post-game ones.
Yep.
I love Sounds of the Game on NFL Network. I always tape that. I always watch it to make sure there's not a good post-game. Some of them are great. Some of the coaches, you're convinced that this is like 80% how they got hired because their speeches were good after the games.
Yeah. Yeah, I would hire Tim Tebow just to address the team. Like if I was a coach, I would have that guy in every locker room because that's his gift, you know.
We don't have that in basketball as much now, right?
No.
Guys don't.
I mean, unless Popovich is talking about Trump, you're not hearing a lot of fiery speeches. I don't know. I think it's because of the long season. After a while, you want to save your voice a little bit. But, you know, Doc Rivers with the Celtics had a theme that he hammered home.
Ubuntu.
Yep. That's
it actually worked.
Of course it did.
I mean, we almost lost to the Hawks in round 1, but it did work.
But any message you do repeatedly becomes culture, and coaches don't realize that. So if you have a nice thing to say once a year, but you're always that jerky, manipulative coach, that's your culture. But Doc stuck with that theme, and you know,
it helps when you have KG, Pierce, and Ray Allen desperate to win a title. Doc's like, I have this idea for Ubuntu. They're like, fine, whatever.
You're a big KG fan, right?
I am. I think he's one of like the great teammates of all time.
Yep.
I would say he's in the top 4 or 5 or whatever list. Russell would be 1, and then after that, whatever else the list is, KG's got to be the next 4.
Kendrick Perkins picked up all those traits.
Yeah.
By the way,
that's why Kendrick Perkins should have been kept by the Cavs.
I agree.
He would have helped out a lot of the stuff.
Those guys are Mike Miller's like that. Like that's why he was, you know, almost to this year just playing because you have to have that guy in the locker room. Mike Miller has saved more team chemistry moments than probably. And he's like the Guardian. Remember that movie with the, yeah, that would be Mike Miller. Not only can he still get it done, but that guy can talk anybody into putting their shoes back on, going back out to the bench.
It sounds like a team should sign you. The Cavs should have signed you to a minimum.
I think they. I mean,
you could have been in the corner with your hand up, and then you really could have done all your magic off the
David
court.
Griffin is a friend. He's awesome. I don't know the new guy, but yeah, sometimes I get a chance to help with some culture stuff, but it is cool.
What's the biggest misnomer about NBA players?
Oh man, great question.
Thanks.
I think biggest misnomer. I think because media is so good now, there aren't many. Like it used to be, they don't listen to media. They do.
Yeah. Well, they have too much spare time.
Biggest misnomer, though, I think, is that these guys are really good people. I think that the perception. That's why I don't agree with necessarily what Stephen A. What his hoodie comments were taken as. I think he was more talking about like sometimes the perception of NBA guys is that they're just bigger than life and they're just these guys that don't, you know, care about stuff that's deeper. I haven't found that to be true of any of them that I know. I mean, these guys care. They're really good people. They're just in a tough job. Like if you're famous and rich at 20, good luck trying to be a good person.
Right.
So the fact these guys are, you know, doing as well as they are is amazing to me. So the biggest misnomer is that these guys are just basketball players. I think they're
you
really
missed your
good.
calling because really 20 years ago is when you could have the most impact.
Thanks, Bill.
With the Kenny Anderson.
I came in here on my 39th birthday feeling good. I definitely missed my peak.
Just go in a time machine. You could have think out all the careers you could have potentially helped. All those dudes from the 90s that got way too much money too soon, the Jailblazers, all those teams, Spreewell. That league was crazy back then. League's so normal now.
It's almost boring.
People are like Westbrook got mad at the officials in the post game. It's like that was like a Kyrie, 1 out of 100.
Kyrie gave a hand gesture to a racist Philly fan. It's like this isn't news. I mean, can you imagine going back to that's why the 30 for 30s were the best thing of all time. Like the one. First of all, did you see the clip of Isaiah choking his assistant coach? Have you ever seen that?
Which Isaiah Thomas?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I never saw that till the other day. I'm like, this is the greatest thing ever. He's bleeding from the eye. Like that era, I miss it. I don't like everything's a 30-minute review. Is it a flagrant? Like back then, if somebody died, they're going to look at it later on. That's the only way. They're going to play through it. So I miss those days.
The stakes are higher now.
Yeah.
especially with social media and everything. Like, like Draymond and Bradley Beal had, I didn't want to call it a fight. They kind of danced and they fell into the crowd.
Yeah, I don't think if they squared up, Bradley would take it the same way. Like, he had a good head start from behind.
I'm going to bet on Draymond against just about anybody in a real fight.
I caught a game. I caught a cab to a game with Draymond one time.
Yeah.
One of my best stories.
Let's hear it.
I was headed to the Miami Heat Chapel. And Draymond, I guess he just missed the team bus. I think he might have been a rookie or a year after. And I was like, dude, you going to the game? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, you missed the bus? He's like, yeah, I'm sure. I said, I'm going to the chapel. Got in a cab. I told the driver, I was like, hey, take us to American Airlines. 25 minutes later, I'm like, where are you going, man? He's like, American Airlines Terminal. I'm like, no.
Right.
Arena.
Oh, God.
Went over the median, booked it there, and I think we just made it, and I don't think anybody really knew.
You don't think anybody knew?
Nope. I think that Draymond had that rep of just he's going to get here, he's going to be on time, and it was funny.
He's the one I worry about as much as I like him.
You can't control him. If you've seen the guys try to control him and he's losing it, he's not having it. Like, even KD, all the guys will run over. I think his mom, if she was in, like, his eye vision, maybe she could control him. But when he gets going, yeah.
It's the same dynamic you have. Like, if you have the family, the one member of the family who after 2 glasses of wine might start crossing lines at Thanksgiving, and everybody's like, uh-oh.
Too vulnerable.
Yeah, uh-oh. Oh, Auntie looks like she's getting in. Hold on. Hold on. We got to change the subject.
Take her a drink. Yeah.
It's that same kind of nervous kind of vibe that whole team gets when Mount Draymond is about to start bubbling. Yep. You can just see it. And it's honestly the one thing that can submarine them. If he can't figure out how to channel that stuff better, this is one of the few sports talk radio arguments that I actually don't poo-poo.
Right.
Because that team, on paper, should beat anybody. The one thing that can fuck them up is Draymond. And if he just keeps going off the reservation, at some point there becomes real costs.
I think that, honestly, Golden State, they have to keep it interesting. And so stuff like that, they lose games here and there. Draymond, but when they have to lock in, I don't think it's going to even be close.
Right. People are saying that about the Cavs, but I actually think
I'll gamble on LeBron. I don't think he's going to go down easy. I'm not worried about the Cavs.
I would gamble on them making about 4 more trades.
True, but I think JR's shooting 20-some%. He's going to catch fire at some point.
Like literally catch fire?
No, he's going to start hitting threes.
Okay.
I love JR. He's one of my favorite guys.
JR's pouting.
He's pouting.
He doesn't like the Dwayne Wade thing. They're a classic chemistry gone wrong experiment. I watch them and it's like,
did anyone think that wasn't going to happen?
JR's mad they signed Dwayne Wade. Tristan Thompson's mad he's not starting. Kevin Love's mad because they try to trade him all summer. Derrick Rose is mad because he's not used to having the ball. Dwayne Wade's mad because he's Dwayne Wade. He's going to come off the bench. It's like it's all the checkpoints for this is bad.
You know what? They gambled on LeBron, the gatekeeper. They're like, we can get all these groceries, and LeBron's going to cook something. And it's not a bad gamble. He's done it before. This is the toughest batch of groceries, though, no doubt.
Well, and it's also the league it's just harder to turn it on and off because of the way people play basketball now. When you have this is why the Celtics are so sneaky good right now because they really play hard and they're good at defending threes.
Yeah, they
and
are.
Everybody's firing up 30 threes a game. You can't get lazy on defense anymore because of the math of it. If you're not running out on shooters, you're going to give up like a 15-1 run all of a sudden.
The essence of defense, though, is not looking cool. The biggest problem in the NBA is everybody wants to be cool.
Yeah.
So when you see teams that are really like Marcus Smart, is that your guy in Boston?
I mean, he's our guy in Boston, but he's also my guy.
He's your guy. So the way he plays D, guys today, it's not very cool, right? To lock up, it's not cool. You want to saunter down the court, and when you see teams that are winning, they're closing out, they're doing stuff that nobody wants to do. That to me is everything. I think it's.
That's why I like my dude Frankie Smokes. Make it my dude.
Now that you've said it, I'm going to give it
Frankie
a fair
Smokes
shake.
D's up.
Would you agree with me on this? Do you think that no one in the NBA has actually committed a foul in the last 7 years? It's the most annoying thing because what happens is refs build up this lack of tolerance for guys. And towards the middle of the year, I always tell guys, once in a while, try to tell the ref it was a good call. Just try it.
Kobe was great at that.
Every play, you never foul anybody. Every play, it's like everybody complains. After a while, refs are like, they just lose it. They just start calling the worst fouls. But do you agree that no one's ever committed a foul?
Yeah,
When was the last time you saw a guy go, B, good call, sir? If you do that twice to a ref, it's going to go well for you late in the fourth. But if you've been cussing them out all game and you've clearly walked or you've clearly killed a guy, just once in a while, it actually endears you to everybody.
We do that to the refs in my daughter's club soccer.
Yeah.
We'll yell at them once in a while, but when they make a good call, or even if it's a good call against us, but good call, ref.
I joined the
That was
coaching.
a hard one.
I joined
You
the
gotta
coaching.
butter 'em up.
I joined the coaching staff of my son's flag football team after 2 losses. Took over the offense, installed a run and shoot,
Yeah.
blew the team out. I also accused the refs of being high because I'm not sure this one guy was even watching the game, and I'm like, bro, you're getting paid $20 for this hour.
Right.
You need to
Just at least focus over here.
I've never had as much fun as I'm having helping coach my son's team though. We're doing exotic blitzes. We're doing bounties. I got video game bounties. You score, you're looking at an Xbox card, $50.
Oh my God. This is like the next great sports scandal.
It's amazing. And they don't miss. Like, we're doing straight up. We went from having a really vanilla defense to exotic corner blitzes. Stifling the other team. I'm proud of it. And we're not out there to have
How
fun.
old are these kids?
8 years old. My son, Roman, a.k.a. White Odell, a.k.a. White Lightning, he will be, I always say, son, you're going to be the next white cornerback. Now, we realize, since Jason Sehorn, this hasn't happened, but you're going to be the guy. So he has in his mind that he's going to be a white skill position. Like McCaffrey, I'm really proud of that. I think that maybe Roman can be in that vein. He's got giant...
Next Jason Sehorn.
I don't want to be the next Jason Sehorn. I just know that Jason Sehorn made it possible to believe that my son can come out of the hood of New Jersey and be a DB running a 4.2.
4.2.
One of my friends, Prince Amukamura, who is like fast wounded. That's how fast he is. I had him try to teach Roman some moves, and he's too cute. He's too funny. He's got giant glasses, headband, 17 different wristbands, great cleats, tied up his little jersey, like he's ready to roll.
Was this harder or less hard than doing the Breakfast Club?
This was one of the highlights of my life, and that might seem weird to people, but this is awesome. I love your show. I think it's really cool you had a pastor. I don't know if you have another one.
What question didn't I ask that I should have asked?
How many
We didn't really
people-
get deep religious.
Well, I think
Why don't you do like a 3-minute spiel to end it?
You gotta think
Just
about...
do your 3 minutes.
What are you living for?
I'm giving you 3 minutes right now.
I'm giving it.
Motivate my listeners right now. They're in the car. They're on the treadmill. Like, make them rethink their life right now.
You got a purpose. You need to figure out who gave you the purpose. You need to figure out what legacy you're going to leave, what people are going to say about you when you're gone. We're recording this a day after 26 people were murdered going to church. Not a single person in that church woke up that day thinking that they were going to stand, on the door of eternity. And I think when you start thinking about life from that angle, that we don't have a tomorrow that's promised, that maybe these little moments matter more than they do, I think it changes what you live for. It changes why you live. And so the purpose of my life is to remind people that there is a God. He did create you. You do have a purpose. And don't let weird religion stop you from a relationship with God. That's the number one problem in cities like this, is people have been to weird church, heard a weird thing, and now they've shut off from maybe the most important thing in life. So keep your heart open. Try to figure out who made you, why you're here, and live for that purpose, and you'll never work another day in your life.
What did you say my religious strategy is? I told you. I said, I believe that everybody has a different God or whatever. I said, you said there was a term for that. Everybody believes in something. And they have a faith in
some
something.
would call you a universalist.
Okay, explain what a universalist is.
All roads lead to heaven. Your faith is okay. My faith is okay. At the end of the day, they all lead to the same place. It's inherently false because my God says that this place is different. Muslim says this is different. So a lot of people, it's cool for you, Carl. I got my faith. You got your faith. And I always say, faith in what?
Right.
I'm a man of faith. Faith in what? Faith in faith is called insanity. You have to have faith in something. So when you answer these questions, I think there's peace that you can find in this life you can't get from a better job or a new contract. You got to live for something more.
So, but how do you stay tolerant of all faiths when you feel that way?
Well, I believe that Jesus would have set a course for us to be able to disagree without disparagement.
Yeah.
To have discourse without disrespect. And so why would I be threatened by your different faith? Either I'm right and you're going to change, or you're right and I'm going to change. Either way we win. So for me, my belief that Jesus is the only way doesn't mean that your way I can't listen to and I can't get to know.
We both agree that the triangle offense sucks.
We agree on so much. We agree that we could run a hell of an NBA franchise.
At the rate the NBA is going, don't rule it out with some of the people that are running these teams.
You and Gary Vee can combine forces and buy a team. And
What's Gary Vee? I know that name.
He's an incredible motivational guy, but he has a dream to buy the Jets.
The Jets.
Yeah. So
Not many people dream to buy the Jets.
Today is a position move for me, because when you do buy a team, I put my hand up to be the equipment manager, and you're always going to be short gear.
I'm going to make you the 15th man.
I'm ready.
I'm going to put you in the locker room.
I'm ready.
Just being like, JR, why are you upset? You won a ring. Come off the bench. Dwayne Wade's one of the best two guards of all time. Yeah. It's fine. You're still going to get your 6 threes a game. Come on, buddy.
JR,
be with us.
Fine.
We need you.
I predict that JR is going to catch fire soon, and we're going to love it.
What would you say to Markelle Fultz?
I would say, I want to know what happened to his shoulder. I don't know what happened.
Or if anything happened.
I would say don't play until your shoulder's perfect.
Doesn't sound like he has the right people around him. I think we can safely say that.
We know this.
I think he needs one person that he could trust around him.
Markelle, do what's best for you. Don't play with one arm. It's a long career. That's what we'd say to him.
Yeah, especially with all the expectations.
Yeah, do you.
There's video of him shooting left-handed threes.
It's not right.
On the internet this morning.
It's not right.
What the hell's going on? They traded 2 massive assets for him.
They also picked up J.J. Redick, who I think is the best. Just shout out to J.J. for no reason.
Okay. Embiid?
Hilarious. I've got to know him a little bit. He's hysterical.
It sounds like you should just line up with one team. One of these owners should just be like, we're taking Pastor Carl. We're preventing all the other teams from using this great resource.
I'm open to it. I'm a Knicks Nets guy right now.
I'm sure Dolan will figure it out. Dolan's listening. James, if you've made it this far.
I'm the guy that we always bump into each other in the hallway, sir.
They have good chemistry, the Knicks, though, this year.
Better.
Yeah.
Better.
I've been impressed. I was impressed by the reactions on the bench, how much they like Porzingis.
My guy, Courtney Lee. That's one of my guys.
Courtney Lee, they have a lot of good team guys.
Courtney's
they don't really have any cancer dudes.
Nope.
Not sure what Joakim Noah's doing lately, but
he's chilling.
He's chilling out.
He's just being. You can see him on the street in New York, just walking. You're like, there's Noah. He
is.
Seems like a really good
guy. How about
guy.
setting a pick?
I wish he didn't get hurt, because he was a beast.
Yeah, he was awesome. I voted for him first team on base.
He also has opposite rotation on the ball, which is very hard to do.
Yeah.
On purpose.
All right, plug the book one more time.
Own the Moment. It's out right now, and I'd love it if you check it out.
Thank you, Pastor Carl.
Thank you, Pastor Bill.